Discover Help presents Stress-Free Living with Ray Samich and Mr. Stress-Free Ratanjit S. Sandhi. This audio program is an unscripted and unrehearsed conversation between Ray and Ratanjit. It is shared with you in hope of adding value to your life. We encourage you to listen to this program in its entirety to receive the full impact of its message. Sit back, relax, open your heart, mind, and soul to this edition of Stress-Free Living.
Welcome to Stress-Free Living. Thank you so much for being with us here today. I'm Ray Samich, and I would first like to introduce all of you, especially if you're joining us for the first time, to my radio colleague, longtime friend, and my spiritual brother, Ratanjit Sandhi. Ratanjit, how are you today?
Wonderful, Ray. How are you?
Excellent, thank you. Always better when we have a chance to chat together, especially when we're surrounded by so many of our friends on our Zoom call. We do this show in so many different ways. You can listen to it on the radio and the internet stream. You can also catch us on our YouTube channel, Stress-Free Living Radio. Just Google that, and you'll find over 100 shows that we have done for you on all different types of topics. And then we also have a Zoom audience, and we'd love to welcome you to be a part of that. We can talk before, during, and after the show and see your smiling faces and actually look into your eyes as you ask us questions and we ask you questions, and we communicate on whatever topics may be on your mind. Ratanjit, when you wanted to put this show together, we put this show, I guess, together collectively. We wanted it to add value to people's lives. We wanted to help them. And way back when, 30 some years ago, we said we're all filled with stress. We're all filled with some kind of pain that we need to be relieved from. And stress seemed to be 30 years ago a real prevalent topic for people, and it still is, maybe more than ever. So that's where the stress-free living came from. But in particular now, when I talk to people about what is a big problem for them, before they even mention stress, they mention time. They mention the fact that they don't have enough time in a day. They don't have enough time in a month. They don't have enough time in the year that passed by. They don't have enough time for the rest of their life to get things done that they want to achieve and accomplish before they pass on. Time is a big concern. And while you might even think it's more of a concern to the older people that know that there's limited time ahead, it seems to be even a bigger concern for younger people that have decades ahead of them, hopefully, but they are so concerned about the time that they have in the moment, in the day. Is it possible for us and for them to manage time, or should we just say it is what it is? It's like the weather. The weather, we can plan a fabulous outdoor wedding. We can plan everything meticulously, but if it's going to rain, it's going to rain, and that's out of our control. Is time out of our control, and we should just acknowledge that that's one of those things that's just going to fly by?
Basically, if you study as a human being, at the very best, when you begin to have all the time management techniques and system in place, and we are managing our time and we are operating at our best, we are not designed to be as efficient. We are designed to be effective. Machines and computers are designed to be efficient. So human being, in their effectiveness, they design the machines and computers. If you go back 50, 60, 100 years, all the things which now machines are doing, we human beings did them. We were working as robots, doing the same thing over and over. Now, those things are done by machines.
Right.
So, in this path, going forward, eventually, all the repeated function where we need to provide efficiency, consistency, predictability has to be done by human designed computers and equipment. So we are very creative, but we are lousy in terms of efficient. So this time management whole thought process is obsolete. It comes from when we were working. Now, it is important to understand that if the efficiency, to become efficient, you do the things right. Efficiency is designed to do the things right, but effectiveness is designed to do the right things. So if we are totally captured in the mindset of time management, yes, it'll make you do the right things quickly. But you have to be focused on doing the right things. You have to understand your core purpose of life. You have to align every element of your life which is going towards that purpose, that goal, that objective. Furthermore, if you have the wrong path, wrong things to do, even the most efficient computer will not help you. If you know your final destination, you need to go to a certain place, you have the right compass. Even the stupidest, slowest donkey will take you to the right place. And if you have the wrong compass, even the most highly well-designed Mercedes will not take you to the right place. So I said too much. Before I go further, I want your input.
It's funny, Ratanjit, you start each show like a cannon, okay? You just burst out a big, several cannonballs that come out, and then we have to kind of go back and look at each one of those to see how it makes sense. I love the idea of you saying efficient versus effective, and I need to look that up because I'm sure both of those have a like a Latin derivative or a Greek derivative, and they start the same way, so they have to have that same root word, but they really are different, aren't they? And you dramatize that. Efficient, we all want to be efficient. We do everything, including, as you said, figuring out how machines can do that for us, how technology can improve our efficiency, which is at the core of managing time, right? So in order to try to manage time, we've done all these things to be more efficient, including using technology skills, technological advancements. But in the process, have we given up being effective? In the process, have we foregone the fact that everything needs to be done in the best possible way, not just for efficiency, but for effectiveness? That's really worth talking about more. So I'd like to continue on that thought before we go to the rest of the things you touch with your cannonballs. Is there the reality that says, in order to be efficient, let's say the average person in America, and I think these are the good numbers, it's actually down a little bit since COVID, but I think the average male life now is like 81 years. And the average female is like 83. Those are the numbers I think I remember reading. So let's just say 83 years, the average life that we have. Should we say, in order to be as efficient as we can in our 83 average years of life, we're willing to give up a little effectiveness? Is efficiency over the long haul, that we can do as many things as possible, can touch as many people, use as many of the gifts that we've been given as efficiently as possible? Is there a question at all that says efficiency in the long haul is actually worth more than effectiveness? Is that even a possible thought?
Let me give you an example which will give you a dramatic difference between the two. Supposing you are managing time, you have allocated 1 hour for your 13-year-old daughter. You are being very efficient because you are busy, you are an executive, you have things to do. So, but it is important that you give time to your daughter.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that daughter requires more time. When can you practice a time management with your loved ones? Not really. You have to be effective. In other words, you have to listen to them, whether it takes 1 hour or 2 hours or 4 hours. You have to understand them, whether it takes more than time. You have to be, again, supposing you are, another example is, you are a salesman, right? You want to sell. So more calls you make, the potential of selling more. So you are going to make in a week 300 calls, and your average of landing a sales is 10%. So now you want to be effective. Your goal is to have more sales. So how do you achieve the more sales? You have to study each of your customer. You have to understand, you have to spend time with them. So, but that will only allow you to make maybe 100 calls a day at the same time instead of 300 calls. But your average would go to 50% sales. So that is ultimately the end result improves by being efficient, by being effective.
Being effective, yeah.
But it is important to be efficient as well.
I know that's the conflict. That's the contradiction there.
What takes the precedence? If you are not effective, you can be efficient to the T and fail. But if you are effective, if you are not efficient, even then you will succeed. That is the difference.
You know, when I think of the word efficient, I think of the total amount of whatever it is that you get done. Efficiency is designed to get more things done, okay? Not necessarily to get more things done well, but to get more things done.
More things done well is efficient.
Well, I mean, it's the ultimate efficiency.
No,
okay.
Yeah, more things.
But I think
more things. going to take you sooner. Effectiveness is finding the right thing to do.
So it's not a matter of either or which one's better. It is a matter of effective efficiency.
Yes.
Okay.
But
Now,
the thing is this: if you are effective, you wanted to go there, and you want to be efficient, and if you do everything yourself, your efficiency is limited. When you bring a team into it, it improves. If you bring the technology into it, it peaks. So ultimately, even when you are practicing what you need to do, this is the objective we need to do. So obviously, you are constantly focused on designing a method or technique to achieve your purpose. And instead of doing it all yourself, you delegate or you find the solution to do. So effectiveness you keep within you, you delegate the efficiency.
it also seems that, and you mentioned the word wisdom a few minutes ago, what to do to be effective is where the wisdom comes in. So it's the what of the process. The efficiency is how to do it efficiently, how to get it done quickly and with the least resources and with the least amount of risk that things will go wrong. So it's, as close as those words are, it seems like the effectiveness is the what of it. It's the wisdom that says what to do. The efficiency is how to do it. Is that a fair? Okay, so
you'll always be not as efficient as your machine and tools and technology can be.
Right.
So
for sure. We're human. We're heirs. We make
so
heirs.
Your focus is always going to remain on effectiveness, which is going to require your intuition, your creativity, and your core purpose, where you want to be effective. And then that will spill out, that will conclude that these tasks have to be done. So those tasks must be done efficiently. Now, you have 3 or 4 choices to do them efficiently. Either you do that yourself, or you hire people, or you contract, or you find technology and combination thereof. So all these things are more efficient than you will ever be. No, I mean more efficient. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we've really, in the first few minutes here, really grasped a major breakthrough of information here, thanks to you, on what the time management problem is. I think for all of our human brilliance, we've been concentrating on efficiency, how fast we can get things done, how much more we can accomplish individually and collectively. And then we've gone to technology to really amplify that. Okay. Once we come up with the method of how to be more efficient, then we apply all the technology, even to the case of having computers do the whole process or having robots do the whole process and eliminate the humans. So we've been all about efficiency. Even when I make my list, and I still do that crazy thing, I'm old school. I make my list every night of what I'm going to do the next day, and I prioritize it. And it's all about how much can I get done? How can I be more efficient every single day with what needs to be done. But the effectiveness is kind of, it's an underlying word, but it isn't the focal point. The effectiveness of it is.
Interesting example is, I know of many CEOs, some big companies, and people who are extremely successful. They don't work more than 6-7 hours a day. And people who are not very successful end up working 12-13 hours a day. So you think they are managing time? Yeah, they are in one sense, but they are delegating. They are very clear what they want to achieve. And they have become very effective in finding out what will add the highest value to their employees, to their customer, to the society. And they are delegating that, they are automating plans, they are doing these things, and they are bringing efficiency into the system once they realize what is effective, what they need to do. Right? Let's take a break.
Let's take a break. We'll come back and we'll talk more about efficiency versus effectiveness. I think a difference that is really at the very core of how important it is to manage our time. It's so ironic to me, Ratanjit, that we have concentrated on efficiency, getting more things done, getting things done faster, and yet in the process, we are out of control in terms of our time management. And that, as I mentioned earlier, is such a big problem for so many people. They don't have enough time. And yet we are surrounded by ways of being more efficient. I think there's a breakthrough here. We need to change the focus from efficiency first to effectiveness. We'll come back and talk much more about that. This is Stress-Free Living. Thanks for being with us. Please stay with us. All right, we have about 90 seconds. Welcome to Kim and whoever else has joined us here over the last few minutes. Anybody have a quick thought they'd like to share?
So here's Doug. And it's interesting, when you mentioned you're going to be time and management. Of course, I make my lists, get everything done. But as an elderly gentleman, it seems as though the days do go faster. And the track and time, I guess. It's kind of a strange, and we're not that busy, but all of a sudden time gets away from us. I think that's a kind of an interesting thing I'm noticing here later in life.
I want to address that too. Away from everything else we've talked about, I do want to talk about the quick passing of time. So we'll get that. Thanks, Doug. Anybody else have a thought?
It seems like vision is at play here, working in the business versus working on the business. The people who are working the longer hours are lost in the weeds, so to speak. And the person with the higher vision, who's adding the higher value, is able to, like Ratanjit said, delegate more, add the higher value, and work less hours.
You
yes, you're absolutely right.
You don't have the intention of working less hours, but you end up working more efficiently.
Yeah. Very good. We have time for one more quick thought. If anyone has it, you're welcome. If not, okay.
I just quickly wanted to ask Mr. Ratanjit ji, what are the constant reminders in order to be effective? If you can guide us with certain operating principles which should act like a daily guidance in order to be more effective. Thank you.
We are back on Stress Free Living. Thank you so much for being with us here today. Ray Samich and Ratanjit Sandhi talking about a universal problem in our world, and that is time management. How do we control time? And Ratanjit, we've taken kind of a business approach to this to start, but in reality, it doesn't matter if you are in business or if you are retired or if you're a student or whatever it might be. This principle is a guiding light, I believe, to your entire life, no matter what you're still trying to accomplish or what is ahead of you. To be effective, is there a way that, because we have been so preoccupied with efficiency, we have spent so much time on that aspect of it, which we've proven now after the first portion of the show is secondary. It's the how to best be effective. The effective part is first. So how to determine what to be effective with is the first question. As one of our Zoom guests just said, are there guiding principles to help us say, okay, this is the effective goal, this is the route? What is that wisdom that you alluded to earlier that can help us to say, in this scenario, this is the most effective solution?
Fundamentally, when the core purpose of life becomes clear to us.
It becomes what? I didn't hear you.
Clear to us.
Clear to us. Okay.
Once we know our core purpose of life, and that's what I want to achieve. No matter, even when we assign a worldly purpose, I want to be successful in business. I want to have more clients. I want to have more these things. So ultimate purpose is to have more clients. Ultimate purpose to have more products selling to them, more. So time management is a subservient to your effectiveness, to your goal. Now, to achieve that goal, to have more customer, you have to make more calls. That is one option. You have to somehow or other attract them into buying the product, advertising. There are so many methods which you choose. And if you have chosen whatever methods you have chosen, and then you become efficient at those methods. And there again, there are several choices. You can only achieve so much by working alone yourself. And when you have one company, when you start a company, you are the only employee. All the profit goes into your pocket. So suddenly you hire 3 or 4 or 5 or 20 employees. You have to share your profit, but the profit becomes bigger. So similarly, when you delegate, when you use other methods, you use machinery and education or technology, it is initially becomes more expensive, but it expands your purpose of gaining more customer, getting more profit. So efficiency basically is a very clarified objective, clarified mission, vision. Once that becomes clarified, and it automatically begs to become efficient, and then you use so many techniques to become efficient. But remember, you are not designed to be efficient. You have to delegate the efficiency to somebody else, ultimately to automated machines, equipment, computers. But now the question comes back to, how do you find the true effectiveness? What is your core objective? What is your core purpose? Again, now it begs the question, who is deciding in you? Your purpose is decided by the human body which you reside in, or you who lives in the human body. The purpose of the human body is always going to be contaminated with fear, greed, and ego. The purpose defined by the real you who enlivens the human body is always going to serve the bigger universal power which you are part of it. So that is very clearly, you have to understand who decides your purpose. If you follow, which 99.9999% follow the purpose decided by the human body, and we are chasing wealth, fame, love, all these worldly things, because we have not found our true self, ourselves, we mistake ourselves as the human body. Right?
You know, I don't know if maybe it's just the mood I'm in today personally, but we this seems to be a breakthrough topic for me, because where I'm coming from nowadays, and I think, I hope that most of our listeners, viewers can relate to this. We're surrounded by inefficiency at the very core. Okay. We get very frustrated with people who are not caring to be efficient, with systems that are inefficient, with life that generally is inefficient. So, truth be told, I think we live, despite all the efforts, in a relatively inefficient world. Then we graduate on that ladder to people who really do try to be efficient. They really do try to maximize what they get done, and hopefully there's some effectiveness in there. But I do agree that we, given the shift, given the option, we tend to go more for efficiency than effectiveness. So there are people, though, at that higher step that are truly trying to be efficient with their lives and with what they do. And then now we've elevated that in today's show to say, okay, there's an effectiveness that's better than efficiency. So now we've got a group of people, smaller group at this pyramid, smaller group of people that are trying to be effective, realize that effectiveness is more important than efficiency. And then now you've escalated to the very top of that pyramid that says, what's driving that effectiveness? Is it our greed and our ego and our fear that is having us make the decisions of effectiveness based on my personal gain, my success, my personal wealth and my success, and my power, and the fact that people look at me and applaud and praise me because I'm so good? Is that what's directing what I think is my goal for effectiveness? Or is it my deeper purpose, my whole reason for existence in this human body, and that is to add the highest value to as many people as I can? We've really, I think this is just so clear to me now how this escalates. And You said 99.99%, and I think you're right. I think most of us, through lack of knowledge or understanding or time, or maybe just because we are so overwhelmed by the fear, ego, and greed of our life, that we never hit that 0.00001% that says I am purposefully designed to be effective based on the real me.
You know, it's not a question of one is better than other. There are two paradigms. One is effectiveness, one is efficient. Both are very valuable. But you need to be efficient in the area which is going to give you the highest value. And that is what is that area is decided by effectiveness. And again, in order for you to understand your core inner happiness, what makes you happy? You have to have loved one around you. You have to have people which are smiling around you. You have to have a society which is flourishing around you. You have to have peace in the environment you live in. So your purpose is to contribute towards those because they ultimately make you happy. To make people around you happy, you have to serve them. You have to understand them. You have to fulfill their basic requirements and add value to them. Similarly, to make the society who is flourishing around you, you have to contribute in a meaningful way, which is going to affect the society. So, in order for ultimate happiness, you have to make things happen, and you come up with ideas, you come up with innovations which will help you do that. And ultimately, you engage the whole society in helping you achieve that. So your efficiency is going to be controlled by who you engage in to help you. If you remain alone in achieving the efficiency, it is going to be very limited because you have very limited capacities. Your main capacity is come up with ideas, come up with innovations, come up with brilliant ideas. And you are effective at that. But implementing those things, you need a team. You need technology. You need, I had a friend of mine. We are of the same age. He's in his late 70s, 80s. And when he was young, in his 50 or 55 or 60, and he would always forget his wife's birthday. And for a month or so, he'll be in the doghouse. So when this iPhone came, suddenly he set an alarm a week ago. So which will help him make a reservation in a restaurant. And he'll order the flowers. And the birthday, when it comes, it was always beautiful. So he delegated that thing to the computer, and he became very efficient. But his effectiveness was basically he wanted to show the love to his wife. That effectiveness then he delegated to his computer, his phones, he became efficient, right?
So it seems that the effectiveness, that issue, is determined by us. And by I say that, I mean it should be the real us. But even if, for whatever reason, people haven't elevated their game to have that effectiveness come from the real us, it still needs to come from us. It still needs to be pondered within us, using the wisdom, using the experiences, using our education and intelligences, all those different kind of things. Hopefully we've escalated that to the real us, but it still comes from one. But then the efficiency, as I'm hearing you say, really is not meant to be just us. It's meant to be using then the technology, using the tools, the resources, using other people that are available to us, using, other situations and maybe collectively experiences of other people to be more efficient. So there is a distinction here, is that the effectiveness is really needs to come from something within our total control. Is that a clear distinction that you agree with or not?
Yeah, to understand this thing further, you have a company CEO, and
Yeah.
this example I've given many times. Under her, the head of each department is more qualified in that particular subject than the CEO. The CEO is the dumbest guy or dumbest person in that company in that respect. But CEO commands the highest salary. CEO, because he delegates everything. All his effective, he becomes effective in concluding the right path, the right objective, the right purpose, and he delegates to the departments to come up with the solution. And they are equipped to have the more efficient ways to do that.
So we really determine our worth based on our effectiveness, not our efficiency.
Yes.
Right? I mean, that CEO should be and rightfully is the highest paid person in the organization because they are the most effective in terms of figuring out the course of action.
Yes.
And basically what's happening is that efficiency component is more and more becoming non-human. It's more and more programs. I just did a lot of research this week in my office on a whole new software program that is just mind-blowing in terms of what it can accomplish for pennies. I mean, for just what we would pay a person for 2 weeks is what I'm paid for a year for this amazing software program. And that's the efficiency angle that you barely pay for,
Yes.
that you right, compared to the fact that the person who's going to be loading the information into that to be effective, you need to compensate fairly. So it's the distinction when you first said it at the beginning of the show, effective versus efficiency. I didn't realize how different those two aspects are in business and in life. We've got a little more time. We're going to come back, and I want to get back just to the idea of time itself. Forgetting the applications in business and in life, just the understanding of time fleeting by all of us, seemingly going faster as we get older. We want to come back and talk about that. This is Stress-Free Living. Stay with us. All right. Anybody has a quick thought? That's okay.
I think it goes
Gives me a
back
chance.
to clear
This
vision.
Kim, go ahead.
I think it goes back to having a clear vision of what it is that you'd like to accomplish, because I've noticed my reluctance to delegate has been the fear of the party that I delegate to being efficient. But if I have a clear vision of what I want, then it's almost like a job, like a checklist or a job profile. Now I'm filling the organizational chart, if you will. I'm not hiring the person, I'm hiring the function that's necessary. So like your view of the software, you're clear what needs to happen. And now the software appears to be a match. So
Yep.
there is trepidation to implement it. So this is a very interesting conversation. I think
Yeah.
for me,
Yep.
it's getting very clear on the vision of what needs to happen.
And also letting go. I think that's also part of it. How much do you still have to own it and control it? How much do you let go? We'll try to come back. We'll try to get into that too. We couple things we want to talk about. Thank you. And all right, we probably have 30 seconds.
So my 30-second comment would be, you talk about machines being more efficient and all this, but one thing that at my age, I need a lot of help. I'm calling people for help. All I get is a recording. It's like, you know what? Talk to this recording and I can't communicate with that person and I get more frustrated. What that has to do with efficiency and effectiveness, I'm not sure, but it bugs me.
Giving up effectiveness for the efficiency, for sure. This is Stress-Free Living. Ratanjit Sandhi and yours truly, Ray Samich, with you. We appreciate you being with us. We hope that we're adding value to your life. Ratanjit, a couple quick things in this last few minutes. I'll have to go back to what one of our Zoom people asked and referred to, and that is that as part of our effectiveness, having the vision to understand what we want, but then sometimes in that handoff for efficiency, we own it so much that we are uncertain about how much of that to give away. We rely on others, and is part of that effectiveness, is that seeing it to full conclusion so it's exactly the way our vision allowed it, or can there be some changes to that based on the handoff, based on the efficiency that we are trying to get in combination with that effectiveness? Can we let go of that a little bit, or are we required to make sure that the end result is exactly the way our vision saw it?
If you, in your human system, do not understand who you are and let this vision and final objective and purpose have it decided by the human body mode, parked in fear, greed, and ego. So if I'm a bakery, I'm making donuts. I sell donuts and I get up at 4 o'clock and make these donuts, and eventually I'm going to end up retiring and keep on maintaining the same routine. So if I am parked in the oneness mode, then there is some value to these donuts. I will design them, instead of subtracting value, adding value, make them more healthier, more efficient, and then want them to reach everyone. So I'm going to franchise this thing nationwide. Let others make money from it. At the same time, the merchandise would be given and available to everyone. So once I am parked in the oneness mode, I'm detached to what I get from it. I am parked in what everyone else gets from it. And I end up getting more.
in the franchise mode, since you brought that up, you are meticulous about saying, as a franchisee, you have to use these bags, you have to use this process, you have to use this branding that goes with it, you have to use this model of organization. The building needs to look exactly like this that you're in. So you're maintaining your control, you're maintaining your vision, you're not allowing other people to change that if they are a franchisee. So that's back to my question. Is it critical that your vision be maintained even through that delegation process? Or do you invite people to come in and vary that the way their vision allows?
Franchises can always submit their modification for an approval. So
Yes, they can.
you continue that process of growth, but your objective is to add the highest value.
You just answered the question. You're still in control, but they can submit a request, and if you say, wow, that's even better than I thought of, you allow it. If it adds more value than what you had originally, it's good. If it takes away from some of the value that your vision showed, then you have to stay with the original plan. I love that. Okay, I'm cutting you off because we have 2 minutes for the last question. Forgetting all the business things, brother, okay, Ratanjit, forgetting all of those things. Why does life go by faster every day? Why, when we're 10 years old, Christmas never comes? It's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's still a month away. It's still a day away. It's not here yet. And yet, as an older person, if there's a birthday coming or a special festival or a holiday or feast, it's like, wait a minute, how could that be here tomorrow already? I can't believe it. It seemed like it was a year away and it's here tomorrow. Why does that happen?
Well, as we get older, our residents, our human body, start to demand more attention. It slows down. By the time you have very small amount of time available to do things. So it shortens the period of the activity which you can perform. So as a consequence, you have smaller time available to you to add value. Again, if you are part in time management and you are using the human body to do the things, you would be greatly disappointed. But your mental capabilities are more equipped with experience and understanding of how things work. And the older you get, the more creative you can be in coming up with ideas to add higher value and give it to the younger generation to follow and bring in the effect to make it more efficient. So if you are part in thinking of adding value, you extend your time available to you. But if you are basically serving this human body to keep yourself, you're maintaining yourself, time will pass very quickly. Right?
So stop focusing on ourselves and focus on others, I think, is what I really heard on that most significantly. Ratanjit, thank you. What a show today. Really enjoyed it. It clarified a lot of things for me, hopefully for all of our audience as well. Remember, thank you, Ratanjit, first and foremost, and thank you, all of you, for being with us here today. Remember, we're all playing the same game. Have a great day. We'll talk to you soon. All right, we are clear. Thank you, everybody. And now the floor is open to you.
Thank you so much for a wonderful session, really.
Well,
It brings so much clarity. time and again.
Did I answer
Thank
your
you.
question?
Yes, absolutely.
Where is my buddy?
Your buddy is working with his team for an effective presentation.
Good.
Yeah,
Thank you, Alex.
thank you.
Thank you.
Do
Thank
you have
you.
any more comments? Now that we are open, we have more time. We don't have to shut you off.
So everything is very clear. The biggest takeaway is having a good team, because then the effectiveness is multiplied.
Yeah.
So having a good team and technology helps in reaching a very bigger goal.
You're designed to be effective, not efficient. You have to
Absolutely.
let the efficiency happen through other people and other technology and other things.
Yes. That really helps, especially in social
In a
organizations,
company,
because one person cannot.
The most inefficient person in a company is a CEO.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you. But they know how to bring the best
They
on the
delegate.
table. That's the
They
that's
need
the
to
beauty.
delegate.
Yes. So your tools help us to make our organization much more effective. Thank you for that.
Yes.
Have a great
Thank you,
weekend,
Alex.
Ray, and
Thank you. Thank you for being with us here.
and
Thank you.
Ratanjit ji. Thank you. Thank you.
Who else has a thought? Anybody else like to share anything? Dr. Jagjit, we haven't heard from you at all.
Everybody is quiet.
Everybody's quiet
No,
today.
everything
Okay.
was fine. Everything he said, everything is fine. No question.
Dr. Marsh?
I liked everything you said. I think that, and I think in many ways we have more time. Ray, you start off that we have less time, more time. I think we have more time if we're efficient. And I love the thing at the end that said that if you were, again, adding value to others and not so worried about yourself and your own body, then time doesn't seem to escape from us, because we're being effective, but we're also being kind and adding value to others, which ultimately seems to be the thing that gets us through life.
Yes, that's our core purpose. Doug?
Very good. Thank you.
Did we answer your question?
Yeah, you always do. It's always great to join you guys and listen to your comments. I don't think about a lot of this stuff, and you bring up a topic and I think, oh, I never thought about that. Then at the end of the show, I thought, wow, you guys brought up a lot of things that I would never thought about. So I always enjoy it. You guys are way, way more smart than I am, and it's always great to listen to all your great comments. And so, no, I think so. You answered it. I do question a little bit about your comment about the CEOs, because it does take a lot of talent. Not that I was ever a CEO, but I would say it takes a lot of it.
It appears like that. They basically develop
people under you.
basically develop the capability of thinking about new ideas.
Yeah.
That's what they are good at.
I guess more important than all of that is, are you homeless, or are you potentially homeless, or how's everything going?
No, I'm still within the home.
Okay.
Well, if you ever get homeless, Ratanjit, you call me immediately. I'll come pick you up. My home is your home.
I offered him to come to Colorado, and I told him we had a bedroom, but he seemed to think that was a little bit too confining for him. I don't know.
When I become homeless, I go to home. The homeless is this human body who is working for me. I will go to my real home.
Very good. Yeah.
Yeah, but we don't want that to happen for a long time, Ratanjit.
No, that's for sure. Although
need
you are way older than me, but yes, we want you to hang around here for years and years.
Kim, how about you? We answer any of your questions?
You did. And what's resonating with me is scarcity mindset versus abundance. and also, ego driven. So I think very small when it's all about me. And what I hear in this conversation is if I take the focus off of me, allowing my ego to run rampant and to place the vision not only on the goals that I'd like to achieve, but also the people that I can add value to. What I want to achieve with the organization, but pouring into the people that are around me and giving them an opportunity, like I can accentuate their value versus being afraid that they can't handle it. So I need to do everything. I can reframe my mind, and they may contribute something that I didn't even imagine that's way better than what I thought, instead of being afraid that they can't do it, which is a scarcity mindset, I think.
Yep.
So that's really good for me.
Ratanjit, I think that was brilliant when you came up with the franchise example there. And that was it just laid it out so perfectly, because that's basically what we're doing when we delegate. I mean, we basically are trying to say, this is our vision, this is the way we want to do it, and you're authorized to do it. And, any McDonald's anywhere in the world looks exactly the same, serves food exactly the same. And, it's, you may hate McDonald's, but you have to respect what they've done with that amazing organization.
Yeah, remember Mrs. Field? She made cookies and franchised it.
Right. I mean, any of these franchises, that's the way it operates. But you came up with a critical point, and you said, if they do submit, if an individual entrepreneur says, I have this idea that will work in my town, can I make this change? They have the right to submit. And that's how going back to McDonald's, like the McRib sandwich and things like that, they gave permission to somebody to try that, and then it became universal because it was something better than they had originally come up with.